So in part B, we have x plus y plus z equals 5, x minus y plus z equals 1, and x minus z equals y plus 3. What's different about this one? The third equation. So what I might do in this one, I might right away rewrite this third equation. So how could you rewrite this third equation? So the idea would be to subtract y from both sides, and you're going to want to have it in the same variable order as the other two equations. So if you subtract y from both sides, it would be x minus y minus z on the left side. So x minus y minus z equals 3 for the third equation. Okay. So now that we have it rewritten, you might just want to ignore this statement, right? Which unknown makes sense to eliminate? Remember, step one, pick two of the equations, eliminate one of the unknowns. Y or? Wouldn't z be pretty easy to eliminate? Do you guys see that x would not be the easy one to eliminate? It wouldn't be that hard. It's just the other ones have a built-in negative in a couple of the equations. Okay, so just for the sake of argument then, you said y first, so let's take E1. Well, what would we have to do to E1 and say E2? There's E3 down here. What would we do to E1 and E2 to eliminate the y's? Just add them together, yeah. So I don't even think I need to rewrite them because they're already lined up, right? So let's just go E1, notationally, E1 plus E2 is what I'm about to do. Okay, so what do I get? What do I get when I add E1 plus E2 vertically? Okay, so 2x plus gone, right? And then plus 2z equals 6. Oh, can I simplify that a little bit? You can divide everything by 2. Why not? Make your life easier. If you make those coefficients smaller, it'll be easier to deal with. So x plus z is equal to 3. So that's going to be step 1. So it's not always as much work as in the first example. That's one of the points of this example. The other point is to rewrite that third equation so that you have an x term, a y term, and a z term all in order. So that's really step 1, isn't it? Okay, so for step 2, we want to select the equation we haven't touched yet, essentially, and one of the other ones, doesn't matter, and eliminate the same unknown. Okay, which ones make sense to do it on? We want to eliminate y again, right? Why 1 and 3? Because the y's are opposite. The negative is built into equation 3, right? So you don't want to take, you could take E2 and E3, but you don't want to because both the y's are negative there. Do you see how you have options? Yeah. So then you're basically telling me to take E1 and do what with it? Add it to E3. And I think if we're careful, we don't have to rewrite the equations here either. They're pretty well lined up. We just have to ignore the one in the middle, right? So let's see if we can do that. Okay, so E1, add the x terms together, what do you get? E1 plus E3, 2, so 1x here, 2x, would you buy that? Okay, I did that one for you. Do the y, give you the easy one this time. What's y plus negative y? 0y, so we don't write that down. And then, what do you get here? Z plus, that's also 0, cool. And then we get what? 5 plus 3 equals 8. That worked out really well. So what do you get there? X equals 4. That doesn't always happen, right? Usually, you don't expect to get a part of your answer in step 2, but it can happen. All right, so what does that allow me to do then in step 3? So remember, normally step 3 is to take the resulting system of two equations, two unknowns you get, and solve. Well, we can still do that, right? It's just easier than in the last example. We have x equals 4, so all we have to do is plug it in right here and get z, don't we? Okay, that's not bad. So 4 plus z is equal to 3. Does everybody see where that's coming from? So what does z have to equal? Subtract 4 from both sides, -1. So we have z equals -1. We have x equals 4. What's the next step, the fourth step? Go back to one of the original equations. Does it matter which one? Absolutely not. Not if you've done everything right. And then, so we can just go to the first equation, I guess, and plug what we know back in and solve for what we don't know. So step 4, what do we have? We have 4 plus y plus a -1, right? Z is -1, so -1, same as -1, equals 5. Does everybody agree with that? Okay, so what's that? Y plus 3 equals 5. So what does y equal? 2. And how are you going to write your answer? 4, 2, -1. So they're not all as long as that first example. Okay, can you check those to make sure you're right? There's no reason to not know that you got the wrong answer because you can plug back in. First of all, you know it's going to satisfy the first equation. So you know that 4 plus 2 minus 1 has got to equal 5. Does it satisfy the second equation? X minus y plus z equals 1. 4 minus 2 is 2, plus a -1 is 1. Does it say, you can do this in your head. You don't expect to be able to do that always. Some of the answers, sometimes you get some ugly fractions. And then, in the bottom equation, x minus y, 4 minus 2? That's 2 minus -1. 2 minus -1 is 3, isn't it? So it checks.